The laughter was still echoing when it hit me that none of them expected me to respond. Not really. I was supposed to take it, smile, and pretend it didn't sting. I watched the wine glow under the chandelier while their jokes scraped at my patience like dull blades. I stayed quiet, calm, controlled. Dangerous because I already knew something they didn't. The dining room felt like a stage. Overdressed and loud, desperate to impress itself. A polished marble table. Too many. Glasses for people who claimed humility. Candlelight softening the faces that deserved it least. My wife's sister's boyfriend sat at the head of the table like he'd earned the right. A smug act wrapped in an expensive suit. His watch flashed every time he lifted his hand, like it needed admiration. My wife leaned away from me as if she was embarrassed to share the same space as my so-called failure. Her sister clung to him, fingers resting on his arm, gripping what she thought was success or at least the image of it. The first jab was small, a joke about men who never become anything. Then it sharpened into comments about real ambition, real money, real men. He said my job didn't count and the table laughed. My wife didn't defend me. She only whispered, "Stop making the family look bad," as if I was a problem simply by existing. She didn't notice the shift in my silence. She didn't feel the cold settle in. There was a time she looked at me with respect, back when our lives weren't measured against other people's trophies, back when love wasn't a performance. But contempt grows slowly. It hides in half smiles, tired sighs, comparisons dressed up as concern. Eventually, she stopped standing beside me and learned to stand next to whoever shined brighter. I never stopped loving her, I just stopped trusting. The woman she chose to become, the boyfriend wasn't success, he was noise, a self-branded miracle. An investment genius, a global consultant, he loved big words that meant nothing. He bragged about deals he never closed, companies he never worked for, cities he'd only seen through filtered photos. I'd seen men like him before. Overconfidence always leaks. So I watched, I listened, and little things stopped lining up. Names were wrong, timelines shifted, titles changed depending on who was listening. He talked confidently about how corporate security trusted him, and that caught my attention, the kind of lie that leaves fingerprints. So I did what quiet men do best, I paid attention. A name here, a company there, a claim repeated too. Boldly, I started pulling threads, background checks, public records, industry databases. Conversations with people who actually lived in the world he pretended to rule. It didn't take long, the truth wasn't hidden, it was ignored because people love shiny stories. He wasn't rich, he wasn't hired, he wasn't successful. He was a professional parasite. Fake contracts, stolen pitch decks, debt, legal warnings, and a trail of women he charmed, drained, and left behind. He wasn't a man with money. He was a man hunting people who wanted to feel close to a dot. So I waited. That night, when the final joke landed and everyone leaned back, satisfied, he started bragging about his latest role. He spoke like he was untouchable, like the room belonged to him. That's when I took out my phone. I didn't raise my voice or change my tone. I simply opened a file and set it on the table. Silence hits harder when it collapses a room. The email from the company's legal department, the fraud alert with his photo, the press release naming an active investigation, screenshots, statements, evidence layered, cold, impossible to deny. His voice went quiet first, then the smiles vanished. My wife's sister pulled her hand away from his arm like she'd been burned. My wife whispered my name. But this time it wasn't anger, it was fear, shame, understanding. He reached for the phone, and I slid it away, not fast, just steady enough to remind him he was no longer in control. I told them I'd already contacted the authorities, that the company wanted cooperation, that he should expect a call. He tried to laugh, but the sound cracked halfway through. He tried to talk himself out of it, but lies fall apart when the truth finally shows up. He left quickly, smaller, without an audience, and in the empty silence that followed, no one laughed. Later, my wife cried, not for him, but for herself, for who she'd chosen to be. For the moment she realized she'd been standing on the wrong side of me. I didn't comfort her right away. Some lessons need to hurt to be learned. Justice doesn't shout, it doesn't rage, it arrives quietly, cleanly, and without mercy. They mocked me because they mistook silence for weakness. They forgot that silence is patience waiting for the right moment to pull the mask away. And once the mask falls, the room never feels warm again.